Ryan Coogler, widely considered to be one of the best directors working today, has unleashed his new movie, Sinners, on the world. A vampire period piece starring Michael B. Jordan as twins with a hard R rating and a solid budget behind it. Did Coogler manage to deliver again? How does Sinners measure up to his previous works? Time to find out. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host Brett Murphy, and for today's video I have a brand new ranking for you all, as I am going to be ranking all 5 of director Ryan Coogler's movies. Before I hop into the actual video itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my ranking videos. We have well over 100 videos currently on that playlist for you to enjoy, so if ranking videos are your thing, then be sure to check that out and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And if by some chance you don't, then feel free to suggest something you might like. And so without further ado, let's hop right into things. Coming in at number 5 is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. To be quite frank with you all, I like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever more than your average person. In fact, I love Wakanda Forever, and so it pains me to put it in last place, but I truly could not justify putting it over any of Coogler's other works. The man is just that good, and continues to deliver at the highest caliber. I have to commend everyone involved in the making of this movie too. They were really dealt an unexpected and damn near impossible hand. Chadwick Boseman's passing came out of nowhere and absolutely shocked the world. Now the folks who were already deep into the development of this announced sequel had to figure out how to navigate that in the most respectful and satisfying way for all parties. Do they scrap it all together? Do they recast T'Challa? If they don't, who should be the next Black Panther? So many questions, and the clock was ticking because, as we all know, the MCU train never stops. Me personally, I think they did the best they could with what they had. Some people, now at least less so when all of this was fresh, believe that they should have recast T'Challa. But honestly, I was perfectly okay with Shuri becoming the new Black Panther and the groundwork being laid for T'Challa's son to take over in the future. Shuri was hurt. She was broken and angry at the world, and being the Black Panther made her whole again. And after certain events that take place in the movie, this new role also gives her purpose and a sense of direction. I think Letitia Wright crushed it. Every emotional beat was nailed, the physicality of the role was on point, and again, in universe it makes perfect sense. She had some massive shoes to fill and was suddenly tasked with carrying this sequel on her shoulders, and she pulled it off. Another highlight is obviously Tenoch Huerta as Namor. Part anti-hero, part merciless villain, part tragic and misunderstood king. The character was well written and his performance was well rounded. Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, and Danai Gurira are all brilliant too, but the one that towers above all the rest of the supporting cast is Angela Bassett, in the role that should have won her the Oscar. I think the inclusion of Riri Williams was fine. Nothing wrong with the actress, I just don't understand why she really needed to be in here outside of introducing the character before her solo show, which still hasn't released yet. It's supposed to be coming out this June, which is almost 3 full years since her introduction. The action was explosive and exciting. The scale felt even more grand than the original. The touching tributes to Chadwick had me teary-eyed, the story offered an ethical and emotional tug-of-war, and the music was spectacular. My issues, though, came from the pacing, with this movie just simply being far too long, and the visuals being hit or miss. Sometimes they can be breathtaking. Other times they look like they're straight from an early 2010s video game cutscene. But that's pretty much it. I really have few negatives with this movie. I enjoy it immensely, but something had to be in last place. In 4th place, I'm gonna go with Fruitvale Station. As far as directorial debuts go, it doesn't get much better than this. Coogler undeniably delivered a riveting, expertly paced, emotionally impactful retelling of a real-world tragedy that left one man dead and the one responsible only spending 11 months in prison after abusing their power. Michael B. Jordan shines as Oscar Grant, gifting us with a layered, rich, and powerful performance. I'd argue it's still among his very best to date. Most of the side cast did little to nothing for me, like his girlfriend and daughter were great, the rest, eh. And it's also one of those real-world tales, while well worth telling, you know exactly where it's going, so there's no tension, build-up, or anything like that. You're kind of just waiting for it to happen. Still, it works thanks to Jordan's work as Oscar, a young man trying to get his life back on track after a stint in prison with a young daughter and what feels like everything against him. And Coogler's masterful direction, of course. There's not much else I can say about this one. My thoughts are short and sweet, just like the movie, which only clocks in at a brief 85 minutes. And in third place, grabbing that bronze medal, is the first Black Panther. I have had an interesting relationship and history with this first Black Panther movie. Now, it's important to remember that this was coming from the MCU at its absolute peak. Like, this was maximum power, box office domination, the height of the hype for this universe. Infinity War only a few months away, then Endgame, even though we didn't know that was the name at the time, was just a little over a year away. We were coming fresh off of Thor Ragnarok, and everyone having loved Black Panther's role in Civil War just a couple years prior. Everything was just right in the world. The early reviews were absolutely electric, and some of the best, if not the best, in the MCU at the time. So naturally I was all in and could not wait to finally check this one out. I saw it opening day as always, and I left the theater kind of thinking, that's it? Like, sure, I enjoyed the movie, but I didn't think it was any better than like a 7 or 7.5 out of 10. A run-of-the-mill, middle-of-the-pack entry in the MCU. Then a little over a year after its release, while I was doing my full MCU rewatch before Endgame, I revisited Black Panther for the first time and enjoyed it slightly more. Following that, each subsequent rewatch over the last 6 years has made me appreciate it more and more. This is without even factoring in Chadwick's passing. Rest in peace, King. Because the movie is good on its own without that added emotional weight. But since that's the reality of the world we live in, yes, revisiting after Chadwick's passing has made the movie even more special and heavy. My only gripes are really the wonky CGI, the terrible final fight, and the wasting of certain characters. I know the movie is like 7 years old at this point, but for the sake of keeping the whole video spoiler-free so I can label it as such, I won't say which particular character or characters I felt were wasted. But yeah, those are the negatives I have with the movie. Everything else though, solid. The performances across the board are superb, especially Chadwick as T'Challa and Michael B. Jordan as our villain, Killmonger. The overall aesthetic of the movie is so unique, from the world of Wakanda to the costumes and makeup, to the music, everything just feels like a vision passionately and perfectly brought to life. Not to mention some wonderfully exciting and memorable sequences sprinkled throughout. It's still far from perfect. It's also really nowhere near my top 10 for the MCU, but my love, appreciation, and admiration for Coogler's artistic prowess and the way he brought everything together, making it all feel original and fitting it into this well-established universe so naturally, should not go understated. It's really remarkable that he was able to pull this off so well. In second place is his recently released Sinners. Okay, now that I've had some time to sit on and think about Sinners, I guess it's time I share my thoughts. Firstly, no, I don't think this is Coogler's best work, seeing as how it's in second place. Or the best of the decade, as some people are saying, or even the best of this year, in fact. I think a lot of these reviews are going a bit overboard with their praise, but look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, of course, and I'm not saying they're wrong or anything, but reading through so many reviews and I'm thinking to myself, I just don't see it, and it kind of feels like big-time glazing. That being said, this is still a solid movie. Michael B. Jordan wows in the dual role of twins Smoke and Stack, with newcomer Miles Catton being the real showstopper, and I don't even know if I pronounced the man's last name right. The supporting cast is extremely well-rounded too, with the likes of Hailee Steinfeld, Delroy Lindo, Jamie Lawson, Omar Benson Miller, Lee Jun Lee, Wunmi Masaku, and Jack O'Connell, all delivering stellar performances. It's thematically rich, beautifully scored, spectacularly shot, and wonderfully violent. The music made my heart sing, and there were numerous cheer-worthy moments. The movie's messages are quite obvious, although I'm sure some things still definitely went over my head / under my radar, but they were no less impactful. Even for someone like me who hasn't faced the things the movie portrays, nor do I have anything even close to this in my lineage / history. I was still able to appreciate everything Coogler was trying to say, and am willing to admit that I'm sure I was oblivious to some things even now. Unfortunately, I did find the pacing to be quite rough. The trailers sell you on one movie, and while it is mostly that, it takes a good long while to get there. Over half of the movie is build-up. There's a ton of fantastic stuff in that build-up, but it's slow, and then the back third or so of the movie feels like it comes and goes a little too quickly for my liking. I felt like the movie bent and twisted its own rules a few times too, and didn't really know when to end, even if each of the endings were still pretty excellent. With all of the early buzz, I expected this to be my first 10 out of 10 on the year. It's not. But that being said, I still enjoyed the hell out of it. Yep, some rough pacing, not knowing when to end, and some story beats that just didn't connect with me personally, but that didn't overshadow all of the brilliance that is in here, which makes it easily recommendable to just about everyone. Especially in times like these when movie theaters and original movies need our help now more than ever. And in first place is Creed. Fittingly enough, this year marks the 10th anniversary of Creed, or as I like to call it, one of the greatest legacy sequels ever made. In all honesty, it could very well be in the top 3 of that category. I definitely still prefer Blade Runner 2049, as it is one of my favorite movies of all time, and probably Top Gun Maverick, with Dr. Sleep definitely being in contention too, but there's no denying that Creed is in that mix. Almost a full decade removed from the Rocky epilogue that largely saved the series' reputation, Rocky Balboa, it was announced that we would be getting a spin-off that followed Apollo Creed's son, starring the slowly rising Michael B. Jordan and helmed by a relatively unknown director, in Ryan Coogler. Little did we know then that these two were a match made in movie heaven, with Jordan at least appearing in, if not outright starring in, each of Coogler's films up to this point, and of course including Sinners, where he plays 2 major roles. Creed hits all the right notes and leaves nothing behind. Incredibly impactful themes, the best boxing in the series, magnificent performances from Sly, who should have gotten the Oscar, and Jordan, with a story that suits this world and its history so damn well. I really don't think it could have been written any better than this by anyone else. An aging Rocky who feels like he's lost everything before getting challenged to his toughest battle yet, and an angry young man who rejects his family name and wants to prove that he's his own man. Pair these two together and simply watch the magic happen. The chemistry between Sly and Jordan is undeniable. They play off of one another so well, whether it's during the training, the bickering, or the more playful moments. Jordan's commitment to the physicality of the role is truly commendable, and Coogler's direction is stupendous. From the added focus to the unseen parts of Philly to capturing that raw, gritty feeling, and of course the one-shot boxing match, which still has yet to be topped. Everything about this movie hits for me, outside of the villain, that is. A Rocky movie really is only as good as its villain, and this may very well be the weakest of the entire franchise. Thankfully, everything else is like the best of the franchise. Some slower paced moments don't always land, and there aren't actually that many boxing matches for folks who might be hungry for those, but in the grand scheme of things, minus the villain of course, those are pretty minor gripes that barely take my enjoyment of this movie down at all. And that is why I still firmly believe it is the best of Coogler's work to date. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my ranking. While you're at it, don't forget to let me know how you would rank all of director Ryan Coogler's movies. As a reminder, this is the revamped BAMTube movies, and it is your one-stop for everything movies, be it rankings like this one, tier list videos, versus videos, top 10 videos, video essays. I have it all and so much more, along with your daily nerdy news wrap-ups, where I catch you up on everything in the worlds of movies, gaming, and TV. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that little bell icon so you don't miss a thing. As always, folks, I thank you all so very much for watching. Stay happy, healthy, and safe out there. From myself and the rest of the BAMTube team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, and that's a wrap.